All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I'm going to break down the Kansas City Chiefs Week 1 victory over the Cleveland Browns. So before I get into this video, I'd like to preface this by saying that I am a bit under the weather. That's why I sound the way that I do, but it's not going to stop me from talking about this Chiefs game because it was incredible. And the Chiefs got out of this game with a win. They won 33-29 in Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs have now won their last 7 straight home openers. Meanwhile, the Browns have not won a home opener since 2004. And for reference, I was born in 2002. So it just kind of goes to show you that the Browns have had no success in the early parts of the season over the past 15 years. But, the Chiefs won this game, but they really had no business winning it. Now, in the first half, so to speak, the defense was horrible. And, we're going to get into that in this video and talk about why they were so poor. But, I kept saying on Twitter, which go follow me on Twitter. That's kind of where I was giving my hot takes and my initial reactions to everything that was going on. My Twitter is at KC Sports Report. But everybody on Twitter was overreacting about the defense. Now, I will tell you firsthand, they weren't good in the first half. But I also wasn't jumping ship. I had some confidence that they would figure it out. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo is a better defensive coordinator than a lot of people give him credit for. And in the second half, he had a perfect game plan. In the fourth quarter when the Chiefs defense really had to clamp up and make plays, they did. And that is what they did. The Chiefs actually led 15-3 at one point, so the Browns blew a 12-point lead. But, they went into the half trailing 22-10. So a lot of Chiefs fans kind of started to press the panic button. A lot of the newer Chiefs fans seem to forget that we have the best player on the planet in number 15 on this team. Like, I had no concern. When we went into the half trailing by 12, I was just like, all right, we get the ball coming out of the half, and Patrick Mahomes is going to lead this team on a drive. We're going to score, and from that point on, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But I never gave up confidence. I mean, I've seen too many games in which Patrick Mahomes turns nothing into something, and that is exactly what he did in this game. And anybody coming out of this game thinking that Patrick Mahomes is not the best quarterback in this game, I don't know what to tell you. He made one of the best touchdown throws that I've ever seen. Ranging to his right, cross body, in the face of pressure, and completes it to Tyreek Hill over the middle of the field. He ends up going in, taking it to the house, but that was incredible. That got me to my feet, and it was just another example of Patrick Mahomes doing the impossible and helping this Chiefs team win games. At that point, the Chiefs were trailing, and Patrick Mahomes led that drive. I think it was under a minute. They scored that touchdown in under 1 minute, and I think they had 2 touchdowns in under 3 minutes. So it just kind of shows you that once the momentum shifts and once the momentum changes, it's over. I mean, the Chiefs really had no momentum in this game until about midway through the third quarter, getting into the fourth quarter. Ben Neiman recovered a fumble forced by Anthony Hitchens. That was a good sign. But they went down the field and they kicked the field goal. So they didn't really turn that into a touchdown. But, the real game changer, I guess you could say, the momentum shifter, was when the Cleveland Browns punter botched the punt and the Chiefs were able to bring him down, and they had the ball in great field position, and they went on to score. Patrick Mahomes threw a touchdown to Travis Kelce, who had 2 touchdowns on the day. Patrick Mahomes was 27 of 36 for 337 through 3 touchdowns, and Tyreek Hill had 11 of those receptions for 197 yards and 1 touchdown. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce had 6 receptions for 76. He had a pretty good game, to say the least. He had 2 touchdowns, but, I think the Chiefs' offense really did a good job of distributing the ball, even though Tyreek Hill had the majority of the yards. But Clyde had a much better game, actually, in the pass-catching department than he did in the running game. He only had, how many, let's see, I'm on the Chiefs app right now, so excuse me for the delay. But, I mean, in the running department, Clyde was not as good as he was in the passing department. And that is something that I wish we could see going forward, but we also need Clyde to be able to pound the rock. We need him to be able to get yards on the ground. And, I just think that going back to the defense, everybody just needs to take a chill pill. It's week 1 of the NFL season. A lot of things were going to go wrong. I mean, let's just be real. The Packers got absolutely killed today. The Bills lost. A lot of these really good teams lost today, and it's because they're not used to, they got to get back in the rhythm of things. We're still very early on in the season. So I was kind of expecting some missed tackles or some miscues or some mistakes, and that's kind of what we saw. You know, I do think one major highlight of this Chiefs defense was Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton looked fantastic today. I mean, I would say that behind Anthony Hitchens, he was one of the best defensive players we had. I mean, he was constantly making plays. Big-time tackler. He was a big part of the Chiefs' fourth quarter defensive stands, where he was able to manipulate the line, get behind the line of scrimmage, and bring the running back down. And, you know, Nick Chubb in the first 3 quarters of this game was feasting. I mean, Nick Chubb had himself a game. And I got him in fantasy, so I could tell you firsthand. Nick Chubb was feasting. But that fourth quarter, it just goes to show you that this Chiefs team needs 1 quarter. All they need is 1 quarter to completely change the way this game went end. They completely changed the way this game ended. And that's just amazing. And it just kind of goes to show you that this Chiefs team is never out of any game because they have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the Browns at one point led this game by 12. And again, I was just sitting there like, Patrick Mahomes is going to get the ball and he's going to do what he does. And that is exactly what he did. You know, it's almost like I cannot believe the former Chiefs team that we used to have before Patrick Mahomes. He's just changed this franchise and the dynamic of this team so much. It's just incredible. And getting back to the defense, Mike Hughes had a clutch pick to end the game. Baker Mayfield actually got tripped up. I believe it was Dan Sorensen on the play that tripped him up. And Mike Hughes was able to come down with that pick, sealed the game. And I think that, you know, it was really important to see what we had in this Chiefs defense, and specifically in the secondary when the game really mattered. And they did. You know, you can rag on them in the first 3 quarters, and heck, I'll do that with you. But in the fourth quarter, they had 3 straight four and outs, or 3 and outs rather. And we needed to see that, and they did it. So I really think that, you know, even though the first 3 quarters were not good football by the Chiefs defense, I think the fourth quarter kind of redeemed it for me. You know, I want to see how they perform next week, because obviously we're going up against Lamar Jackson. He's a mobile quarterback, and I want to see how this defense adjusts to that. But, you know, I can't help but come out of this game feeling more confident based off that fourth quarter. I mean, the Browns might have won 3 quarters of this game, but as the 49ers could tell you from the Super Bowl, Chiefs only need 1 quarter, and that is exactly what they did today. But Chiefs Kingdom, how are you feeling about this team? Oh, I completely forgot to mention, the Chiefs had Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu inactive today, which did make a pretty big difference. Chris Jones was a monster. He had 2 sacks. The only 2 sacks of the game for the Chiefs went to Chris Jones. So that's great to see, obviously. But this team clearly missed Tyrann Mathieu, and it was pretty evident. But I also think that Tyrann Mathieu is coming off of the COVID list. We don't really know what he would have been like if he was playing. And I think for a safety precaution, it's probably a good thing that he sat out. But it just kind of goes to show you that Tyrann Mathieu is a very critical part of this team. You know, going into this game, I did say on Twitter that I thought the Chiefs could win this game with or without Tyrann Mathieu. And I was ultimately correct, but this game wasn't as smooth as if Tyrann Mathieu was playing in it. They probably would have won this game more handily, and the defense would have made those adjustments much sooner. But hey, you live and you learn, and I only think that this team has got to get better, and they're going to learn week to week. Because again, it's week 1. Everybody was overreacting, and you know, I tweeted out, it's almost like they moved overreaction Monday to overreaction Sunday. People were freaking out. And again, I'll be the first to admit the Chiefs defense wasn't good in the first 3 quarters. They couldn't stop anything. But when we needed them to be good, they were good. So at the end of the day, you got to take some positive out of that. And I am. So I personally think that, you know, they did make some plays. They also did not make some plays. And that leads to why the game was so close. But I think when you really boil it down, this was a hard-fought team win that, you know, it builds character. Last year the Chiefs lost that game to the Raiders week 5, but I also don't think the Chiefs probably come back last year from this type of deficit. I could be wrong, but I think that this team is just going to continue to get better, and we saw it today that this team is insane. Like, even though they were down to the Browns, who in my opinion, the Browns are a top 3 team in the AFC. They might be a top 2 team. And the fact that you were able to handle business week 1 against this team, and it could have playoff implications on the line or later down the line, that's big. That is huge. And I think that at the end of the day, the Chiefs, even though it wasn't pretty, they were able to escape this game with the win. So, Chiefs Kingdom, what do you think about my thoughts on this game? And what do you think about the Browns' performance? Because I thought the Browns played exceptionally well, and the Chiefs didn't for the first 3 quarters. But it just kind of goes to show you that this Chiefs team will do anything to win at any cost, and that's what they did today. So the Chiefs win this game by a final score of 33-29 at Arrowhead Stadium against the Cleveland Browns, and they move to 1-0 on the 2021 NFL season. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.